I am delighted to introduce our 2021 commencement speaker, Mr. Darrell Hazell, a member of the Muskingum class of 1986 and a member of our Athletic Hall of Fame. Darrell Hazell is an inspiring example of the impact an individual can have as a coach, educator, and leader. His commitment to excellence and to mentoring others is evident in his own accomplishments and those of the students, athletes, and colleagues whose lives he has touched. We are proud to honor him today with a Doctor of Humane Letters degree. I now invite the chair of the Muskingum University Board of Trustees, Dr. Kim Gage Rothermel, to join me in conferring this honorary degree.
Thank you, Dr. Hassler. Whereas Darrell Hazell, a member of the Muskingum class of 1986 and the Muskingum University Athletic Hall of Fame, has impacted the world as a coach, mentor, educator, and student advocate. And whereas Darrell Hazell led a distinguished coaching career for more than 3 decades, serving at the collegiate and professional level, including as assistant head coach at The Ohio State University, head coach at Kent State University and at Purdue University, and wide receivers coach for the NFL's Minnesota Vikings. And whereas Darrell Hazell shared his knowledge and guided and encouraged his players on the football field and beyond in their study habits, campus life conduct, and community impact. And whereas Darrell Hazell's impact on his colleagues led his peers to honor him as the Mid-American Conference Coach of the Year. And whereas Darrell Hazell serves Muskingum as a dedicated member of the university's Board of Trustees with leadership and stewardship that impacts the Muskingum students of today and tomorrow. Therefore, be it now resolved by the Muskingum University Board of Trustees on this, the 7th day of May, 2021, that the degree of Doctor of Humane Letters be conferred upon Darrell Hazell.
By virtue of the authority vested in me by the State of Ohio and the Board of Trustees of Muskingum University, I do hereby confer upon you, Darrell Hazell, the degree of Doctor of Humane Letters with all the rights, privileges, and responsibilities appertaining thereto. Ladies and gentlemen, I am honored to present to you Dr. Darrell Hazell.
Thank you so much for this honor. Hello, class of 2021. Thank you so much for allowing me to share this very special occasion with you. See, I was you 35 years ago, sitting in those same seats, thinking those same thoughts, and having those same feelings and emotions, those feelings of sadness that when is the next time I'm going to see my classmates again? Those feelings of happiness and joy that we've accomplished so much in such a short period of time, whether it was in the classroom or on the athletic field. And those feelings of anxiety, anxiousness, am I ready? Am I prepared? Let not your heart be troubled. You are ready. Let me share a little secret with you that you probably already know. You've had great leadership in the last 4 years with your president. President Hassler has kept you learning and growing through some of the toughest of times. She cares about you deeply, not only as a student, but also as a person. Your professors, your mentors, your classmates, your teammates, your coaches, and your family have all had a part in what's to come for you. See, what's very unique about the last 4 years and the next 40 years is there's a greatness inside of you that you don't even know about until it's asked to be revealed. Back in 2007, my 6-year-old son asked me to build him a tree house. Prior to that moment, I hadn't built anything. So I started looking around the house, I'm gathering all the scrap material, the scrap wood and the metal and the nails and the screws and the brackets. I collect all these scrap materials. I take them out back. I lay them in the yard. And the very first thing that I notice is that nothing looks the same. There's 4 different colors of wood, rusted nails, bent screws, brackets that are L-shaped, some were T-shaped. And the question I asked myself was, how can I add value to all of these individual pieces to make something special? So I went to work. I took the strongest pieces of wood. I didn't care what they looked like. I put them together, and I built the floor, the foundation. And then I proceeded to put the walls on. And then I finished with the back wall and then the front wall. It started taking form, started taking shape. And then I just realized that I wasn't quite sure how I was going to put the roof on. So I walked two doors down to my neighbor's house, who happened to be a contractor, and I knocked on his door. I said, "Hey, Frank, I need some help. I need some advice. See, I'm building this tree house, and I'm not quite sure how to put the roof on." He says, "I'm going to do better than just give you some advice. I'm going to come over. I'm going to help you build your roof." So Frank comes on over. He brings over 2 boxes of shingles from a previous job, and we go to work. We start to put the roof on, and right about the time we start hammering those shingles on, the skies open up. The rain starts to fall. It starts to storm. It's lightning. And Frank and I stayed up there for 45 minutes hammering those shingles. And at the time we finished, the clouds parted. The sun popped out. And there it was, a beautiful tree house. We kind of looked at each other. Frank looked at me and smiled and said, "Hey, good luck getting that house up into the tree." See, I hadn't thought about it, how I was going to lift a 300-pound tree house off the ground into the tree. So I went inside, I sat down at the kitchen table, I grabbed the yellow pages, and I started fishing through those. And I kept making these phone calls, and I was getting rejected from all of these heavy equipment companies. And I was racking my brain. I thought about calling my players up, having them come over, lift the treehouse up while I set the post on each of the corners. And then I decided that's probably not a good idea. And at that time, my son walked over to me. He looked at me. He looked back outside at the treehouse, turned and looked at me, and in his infinite wisdom said, "Daddy, that's not a treehouse. That's just a house." So out of frustration, I hop in my car, and I'm riding around the neighborhood, and bang, there it is. There it is, at a construction site, a forklift. I was so excited. It was a new build, a contract of apartment complexes. I hop out of the car, and I start knocking on doors, trying to find the project manager. After the 6th house, I find the project manager, and I asked him, "Hey, can you help me out?" I said, "I have a tree house that I need to be picked off the ground and put up into the tree." He says, "I have a guy. He's not here today, but he'll be back tomorrow. He's in court." I said, "I'll be back first thing tomorrow morning." The next morning, I show back up. The contractor greets me. He introduces me to Jim. Jim and I start talking about the project, and Jim says, "I absolutely can lift that tree house up." I said, "Jim, what's your story?" Jim said, "I was just released from prison 3 weeks ago. I'm not a bad guy, but I did a bad thing, and I need a second chance." I said, "I get it, Jim." Jim said, "I can lift that tree house up, but there's one problem. I'm not allowed to drive this heavy equipment on that major highway." I said, "Jim, give me a second." I step away from Jim. I make a phone call. I stay on the call for about 3 to 4 minutes. I come back. I said, "Jim, we're all set. Let's go." He's still very apprehensive because Jim wants to do the right thing. I said, "Jim, hop on your forklift. I'll get behind you in my car. I'll put my flashers on. We'll go down Route 3. You get to the first road, you take a left. You get to the second road, you take a right. I'll swing around you and I'll lead you up into my house." Jim says, "Okay," very, very apprehensively. So we hop on Route 3, we're going down, 3 cars are passing us. Jim takes the first left, and then he takes the first right. I pull around him, and I lead him up into my driveway. Jim's a champion. Jim went right to work. He went over to the tree house, he put his forks underneath, and he slowly raised that tree house up. And once he got to about 10 feet, a police officer pulled into my driveway. You could tell Jim got increasingly nervous as he worked, but he continued. I grabbed those 4 posts. I set those posts in the ground. We fastened that tree house to those posts, and it was solid. Jim backed away, and then he started stepping down off of his forklift. The police officer started walking over to us. We exchanged greetings. He looked right at Jim and said, "Jim, my name is Officer Ron. How would you like an escort back to your construction site?" Then Officer Ron looked at the treehouse and said, "That's a beautiful treehouse. Your son's going to love it." See, there's something very special about building a treehouse that we all can learn. 5 things. 1, at some point in time in your life, someone's going to ask you to do something you've never done before. Put your head down, go to work. Make sure you understand that there's going to be problems along the way, and you solve those problems as you go along. Number 2, and this speaks dearly to my heart, you must go out of your way to find value in people. I don't care what they look like, where they're from, what their issues were or are. You have to find value and uplift and empower people. It doesn't cost you a thing. 3rd, you're going to need help at some point in time. Don't be afraid, don't be ashamed to ask for help. You can get help anywhere for anything. 4th, this world has been built on people with second chances. Make sure you extend those opportunities to people that need second chances. And then lastly, you got to have fun. It's going to be a tough road for the next 40 years, but enjoy every step of the way. You're going to have great times. You're going to have hard times where you're up on that roof and you're hammering in a storm, but have fun. Class of 2021 Muskies, we are so proud of you. Congratulations and good luck.